Hello and welcome to Spilling the Tea. Tea, if you watch enough, you'll see that I do spill it. So this is a travel story series. I'm Dora, I'm from Australia, but this story is from Peru. So this one time in band camp, every good story starts like that, right? It's not a naughty story, it's not a sweet story, it's just a story about how sleep is so important for us, like super important. I mean, I think most people know that, without sleep we don't function very well. But it's a good reminder because, in our day-to-day life, we can't always be traveling, right? That, if you don't get enough sleep, you don't think properly, you don't make, right decisions. If you're driving, it could be dangerous. And you just don't feel your amazing self, right? So, no different when you travel, right? So, this one time, I was traveling from Cancun to Lima, Peru. I was going to meet up with some people in Lima and do maybe I think it was a 2 week gap adventure tour. This is the time that I was traveling for 6 months around the world, doing kind of hitting all the big bucket lists I wanted to do. And my mum was giving me so much grief about going solo backpacking for that long, and also to South America. So South America, this was 17 years ago, mind you. 17 years ago, South America was kind of just opening up to be, the backpacker haven it is now. And I mean, it did have a little bit of a negative kind of, feel because, there were still guerrillas in Colombia. I never went to Colombia because Colombia at the time, 17 years ago, still having a little bit of kind of, tourist kidnap, should I say? Um, but I wanted to go to Bolivia and Peru and those places, especially Bolivia was, hey, Debbie Sue. Bolivia was still just coming out of guerrilla kind of, war, welfare, war, basically. Bolivia has been. So, Debbie Sue, I'm telling stories about a travel story about Peru and how I ended up doing a group adventure tour because basically paid friends because my mum was so worried about me, her oldest little daughter, going away for that long, plus being in South America. And look, I get it. I mean, if I was a mother, which I'm not, and say, for example, my niece, if my niece was going to South America, I'd probably be like, oh, well, it depends on how experienced you are backpacking kind of thing. If you're a quite seasoned backpacker, I think you can do it quite easily by yourself. I think I could have done it quite easily by myself. But I have no regrets. No regrets at all. I absolutely loved the tours I did, which is so weird because this is the only time I've ever done paid tours and as in organised tours together. And this year I'm about to embark on another one of those, but only for my friends. It's only a group of 3 of us plus me, so 4. And it's a kind of organised tour, but just for us, where the tour that I joined, Gap Adventures, was with, I think, a whole lot of randoms that, from all different kinds of places, all age groups too. So it was open age, which is great actually. But anyway, I landed in Peru, in Lima. Lima is the capital of Peru. And Cancun to Lima is only, I don't think it's very far. I reckon maybe about 6 or 7 hours. I don't think it's very far. From Australia, everything's far, right? 8 hours is probably far, but it can. I've taken 48 hours to get to Ibiza once. That was a long time. But anyway, so I don't know. I think it was a night flight from memory. And when you fly at night time, you don't always guarantee to sleep, right? And I think I was very excited because I've never been to South America before, and South America has always been one of those places I've always wanted to go. So let me have some tea, because this is spilling the tea. drinking black tea, no sugar, no milk. Made this morning. I have it in my little travel thermos, and it's nice and piping hot since I finished work. So, yes, I think I flew at night time, and I was very, very excited about getting to. Hey, Miss Sam. I was very, very excited about going to South America. This is the first time I've ever been. It's the only time I've ever been so far to my life, to be honest. And South America has one of those kind of very adventurous kind of feels, right? Like you've got you've got not Tikal, you've got Machu Picchu, right? And you've got, oh my gosh, the beauty of Rio de Janeiro, and the just, there's some amazing things in South America that are just out of this world that you won't see in many other places. Though the salt flats, they've got the salt flats in Peru, but you've got the salt flats in America actually too. I've seen pictures of that. They look pretty cool. Somewhere in California, they've got these salt flats. But anyway, the original ones that are supposed to be very, very amazing are in Peru. So there's a lot of stuff in South America that's, amazing to see. So I was very excited, okay? This is 17 years ago. Dora is like super, super excited. Didn't sleep very well on the plane. I arrive probably, I don't know. Again, can't really remember, guys. It was a while ago. But I have a feeling it wasn't a direct flight either. So that's also going to get you, right? So if it's not a direct flight, you're going to be waiting around in a couple of airports for a while. So I believe I arrived to Peru in Lima about 10 o'clock in the morning. Okay, now you can't normally check into your accommodation till like about 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But I was able to check in. So I ended up getting a cab. I normally try to find, the cheapest way of getting somewhere, which is, like buses or, walking, because I've done that before. True story, my last trip, when I went to the island of Flores to see the Komodo dragons, the airport wasn't that far away from town. So I walked, and I am stubborn. But anyway, I decided, because I was quite tired, that I would catch a cab. Now, at this stage, I'm very penny pushing. Like, I'm counting all my pennies because I have been traveling for at this stage, probably about 3.5 months. And I had about 2.5 months left in South America. So, I was in the middle of my trip, and, I'm backpacking. Like, I don't have a huge lot of money, and I'm trying to stretch out every money, all the money I can. So paying for that cab was probably the smartest thing I did on that day because I was so tired. Now, I had a travel diary with me, not your typical diary. I was counting actually exactly how much I was spending each day, and I was averaging it out so I could see how much I was spending on average. So, normal people journal about where they are, with their trip. Me, I'm journaling every day how much I'm spending. So anyway, I had used that journal every day, and it was a good kind of mindset for me, because it was just like everyday practice. This is what I do. I count how much money I've got, how much I've spent, see where I'm at financially, right? And again, this is 17 years ago. Not so easy to check on the internet, all those kind of things. There were internet cafes you could go to 17 years ago, but I wasn't holding a phone to look at, my bank account or anything like that. And also, mind you, you didn't really want to look at your bank accounts very often, because if, scammers got into the public internet on computers, then, you could run the risk of losing your account. So that would be a very big issue for me in the middle of my trip, right? So anyway, I would have been, that night on the plane, would have been using my diary, so to speak, right? And I get to the backpacker hostel. And was it a backpacker hostel? I can't remember where I was. I can't remember where I was staying. No idea. But I get to my hotel, or wherever I'm staying. I am like so tired. Thankfully, I was able to go straight into my room. Actually, I was staying in a backpacker's hostel because I was on the bottom bunk. And I got into the room, and there was a few more people sleeping in the room at the time. So I just literally, because it's, it's like, I don't know, something in the morning. I was dead tired. I didn't change. I went literally straight to bed. Lying in the bed, and I sit up straight away, go, shit, what have I done with my travel diary? And I'm like frantic. I'm looking at all my stuff, in my little backpack and I couldn't find my travel diary. Hey, Nicholas, I couldn't find my travel diary. And I'm like, oh, crap. Like, this was important, right? Like I said, there was, we didn't have computers back then that I could look on my phone and see where I am financially. I'm in the middle of my trip. I've got, 2.5 months left in South America till I go home. And I can't be looking at the internet every day to check out where I am financially, right? So I had to gauge where I am. I mean, I could have started another book, mind you, but I'm in a panic. Now, I'm also tired. Never make good decisions when you're tired. So guess what I do? I jump out of the hostel. I catch another cab back to the hotel, back to the airport. I'm asking the airport, can they please check the plane for my book? I've lost my book, blah, blah, blah. I'm frantic. And they're looking at me going, your flight's gone. It's gone to God knows where. And they say, okay, well, we'll take your details. We've got your email. If we find the book, someone puts it in, we'll somehow get it to you. So I was like, okay, well, I've lost the book, right? So again, I catch another cab back to my hotel, my backpacker hostel. So by this stage, I've caught 3 cabs, which, are quite, they're not cheap. But, in Peru at this time, 17 years ago, it wasn't that expensive, I guess, to the scale of life. But, normally catching a plane from a taxi from the airport is not cheap, right? So anyway, I'm like, there's nothing I can do. So I go back to the backpacker hostel and I go to sleep. I have a couple of hours sleep. I wake up and I think I get to have a shower, right? And I'm, pulling my stuff out of my backpack. Guess what I find? My travel book. So I was very, very excited about the book. I still have that travel book. I will have to do a live one day or, a video one day and actually show. I think is that my friend Kathleen? No, sorry. It's Debbie Sue saying hello to Nicholas. So anyway, the moral of this little short travel story is sleep is so important because you make better decisions. You know what you're doing. Like, I couldn't even see straight. I was that, so tired from travel that, I couldn't find my book. I mean, if I'd actually spent a little bit more time at the backpacker hostel looking through my, backpack and my stuff, I probably would have found the book. But because I was so tired, I didn't really look properly. So that's my travel story today. I'm spilling the tea. How even, when you're, on travels or even at home, how sleep is so important. I was just talking to our friend Alison from YouTube. Oh, what's her channel name? Over 50. Oh, I can't remember. I wanted to do a live. Oh, guys, High Country Homestead is live right now. Okay, I'm going, guys. Susan is live now. Check you later. That was spilling the tea. Spilling the tea. Travel stories. Bye.